Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are so excited to be here tonight, and to all of you at home. We not only get to greet a much needed time and space for rest and for renewal, but we also get the chance to honor we have 10 graduating seniors, and 7 of them who will be here tonight, and to get a chance to bless them and their families. They'll arrive, they'll emerge. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And so we are going to begin with words from our psalmists, which just mean how good and how sweet it is for all of us to get to be together on this Shabbat. So we are on page 10 and hope you'll join with us. We are tonight going to move into first our Kabbalat Shabbat part. This is all of our warm-up prayers, recognizing from our tradition that you can't just jump into praying, right? We often don't just jump into inspiration. It really takes a practice. It really takes warming up our hearts and our minds and our souls in order to do that. And so that's what our beginning prayers are all about. They're really getting us shifting from whatever has been consuming our minds this week, whatever that might be for you, to really just shifting to a place of presence, to recognizing that there's nowhere else we need to be, nothing else we need to do in this moment except for being here with one another. And that really is often hard for so many of us. And so we're going to do that. We're going to sing. This is a space for you all to sing. If you're at home and you know the words, sing it in your kitchen, your living room, wherever. And just to feel this as a space of joy, and as we'll learn later, as a space of holiness. And so we are on the very back of our prayer books, 344. 344, all the way in the back. Shiru Ladonai. On this Shabbat, may we sing a new song unto God. Lecha Dodi, and this is inviting us to rejoice as if we were celebrating a wedding couple. And the excitement to see them and the joy of seeing them together, that is how we are supposed to experience this next prayer. So we're on page 20. We will do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. going to stay standing. And we are on page 28, our call to worship, the Baruch Hu. Turn to page 31 and read together. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And together on the bottom of 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Adonai Elohecha, bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha, ubechol meodecha.
36.
Vehayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom al levavecha, veshinantam levanecha, vedibarta bam. Beshivtecha beveitecha, ulechtecha b'derech, u'shochvecha u'kumecha, u'kshartam leot ayadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha, leman tizkeru. Vasitem et kol mitzvotai, vitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
There is this famous midrash. A midrash is a story that the rabbis created to help us understand a piece that might seem like a gap in our biblical text. And so they created this beautiful, very famous midrash about a gentleman named Nachshon. And the idea is that at this Micha Mocha moment, which we're about to come to, at this time when the Israelites were departing Egypt and they were getting ready to cross the Red Sea, and of course the famous story is that God splits the Red Sea and they're getting ready to pass, there were, everyone looked at, in this midrash, in this story, everyone looked at Moses like he was a little out of his mind. The sea, you really want me to start walking into this body of water and just hope and trust that it's going to part and that we're going to be able to walk through. And when you think about it from this perspective, it makes a lot of logical sense. And so there is this guy named Nachshon who decides to be the first person. He's the one that he sees this body of water and he's willing to go step by step into it until he models for everybody else that the sea in fact does part and that it's safe to move through. And so when I get to the Micha Mocha and I think about this prayer, which is really reenacting our Exodus story, it makes me think about Nachshon and his courage and his willingness to sometimes jump in to do what's necessary for the community. And there's just so much brokenness and there's just so much injustice in our world, and it needs people. It needs young people and older people and all of us. But as I'm looking at all of you, it really needs people who are willing to jump in and be willing to take that leap, even if it feels hopeless, even if it feels so much bigger and too much for us, that really it's something that we want to inspire in others as well. And so as we sing Micha Mocha, may we pray for a more just, peaceful, equitable world, and then may we also be called to be a part of creating that world that we all seek to live in. And so we are on page 40. Join with us. Hashkivenu, our nighttime prayer on page 42. We ask for God to spread over us, or whatever it is that you believe in that's bigger than you, to spread over us and protect us and to shelter us from all the things that make us feel afraid. So we'll join together. can't help but just think of seeing so many of you at Wednesday afternoon tefillah. You're probably around Callie's age, swaying and singing this prayer in the sanctuary. So just really special to pray with all of you. We are on page 46, and I invite all who are able to please rise.
Open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
48.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Hastei Avot V'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Mezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Morid Hatal Mechakel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Bal Gevurot Umidomela Melech Mimit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah la'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kadoshim b'chol yom Yehalelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue in silent prayer through page 62. You can pray the words of the prayer book or just take some quiet time for yourself and be seated whenever you're ready. Everything that's going on in our world, both here at home and also across the world in Israel and Ukraine and in so many other places that go unnoticed. noticed, we join together in a prayer for peace, a call for peace. Od yavo shalom aleinu. May peace come, may it come now, and may it be a fully whole and encompassing peace for all of us. Cantor, what page are we on?
Bottom of 353. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Be'akulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Be'akulam. Salam aleinu ve'akolam. Salam shalom. Come on, singers here. Salam. Shalom aleinu, Ojavo shalom aleinu, ve'akulam.
Hi, everyone. Our Torah portion this Shabbat continues the conversation of the book of Leviticus regarding holiness. Was this, Rachel, your bat mitzvah Torah portion and more? I want to say it was. No, it was close. It was close. No? Okay, I remember. It was about, okay, I was in the same zone. All right, I was thinking of you today, Rachel. And yes, and this Torah portion invites all of us to be holy like God, to seek and to cultivate holiness by trying to emulate the sanctity of the divine. But it also invites us to be holy through distinction, suggesting that there are certain roles in the community and certain acts and certain spaces and certain times of year that should be distinguished as holy through difference. And what a fitting message for this particular graduating class of 2022, a class that embodies holiness in so many ways, but in the most refreshing and honest way through your uniqueness as individuals and as a group. For you have always been a class that is not afraid to be you. Your whole, quirky, gifted, creative, intelligent, thoughtful, loving, funny, and holy selves. You are artists, poets, debaters, circus performers, this is all true, musical theater performers, musicians, singers, STEM geniuses, scouts, basketball players, and truth tellers. You are one of the most talented groups of humans that I know, truly. And you are also just so fun to teach and to be around. We have traveled together to Israel and to Arizona and to Washington, D.C., and we have learned so very much together. Yes, about Judaism and about God, but also about yourselves, about who you want to be and how each of you want to contribute to this world. And I think what makes you so special is that deep down you know who you are and you embrace who you are, even when it doesn't align with who the world tells you you should be. Even when things get hard with friends or with family or with school, you are able to reach into that reservoir within you, that holy place of inner knowing that guide you back towards yourselves. In a moment, I'm going to call you up to receive first a gift from our community, but also to hold a Torah, something that you did at your B'nai Mitzvah, something that you did when you were confirmation students at Simchat Torah. And then you're going to receive a special blessing from Rabbi Chasen. I will embody Rabbi Chasen tonight to mark this sacred transition. But I wanted to share with you just two pieces of advice as you move into this next stage in your lives. The first is to try some things that you aren't necessarily good at. You are talented and you are gifted, but we continue to grow by developing new skills and new knowledge. So if you love writing, maybe take an astronomy class. If you're an expert juggler, maybe try tightrope. Is that a thing? I see I'm on it, Grant. And don't be afraid to stretch outside of your comfort zone and to try new things that sound interesting to you, to introduce yourselves to new ways of thinking. The goal is not to get it right all the time and to be the best all the time, but to just continue to figure out how to be more you and to grow and to learn as you. And finally, my second piece of advice is just a reminder that we're always here. That just because you graduate, it doesn't mean that we stop being your community or your home. And so if there's something going on at school and you just need advice from someone other than a friend or a parent, you can call us. If life is just hard and you want to sign on a Friday night to the Zoom screen, we do a 6 o'clock table blessings. A lot of college kids are doing this now. Very cool. You can sign up and just see our faces and just know that there are people who love you and know your history and care about you. And just to remember that whenever you come back in town, we want you to come here. We want to see you. You are part of our family, and we truly, deeply love you and have loved getting to be a part of growing up with you and raising you. And so along those lines, just a reminder that you also have each other, that people who know you and have journeyed with you are also right here in this space, and that you can always turn to each other no matter what this next chapter brings. And I hope that you find and you surround yourself with people who really understand that this great source of holiness that our Torah, that our tradition teaches about, is that holiness that comes from what I said before, that inner knowing, that inner strength to be willing to be yourself and to surround yourselves with people that get that and that also are seeking that and looking for that within one another. And so in a moment, I'm going to call up each of you by name to hold a Torah. There are lots of sizes of Torah, so you can decide. And then Rabbi Chisen, unfortunately, has got COVID. So he's sick at home and is sending his deep love to all of you. And so then I'm going to read a blessing from him to all of you. Okay? Katie Babb. Right here. You're good. Grant Bishop. Grant, maybe take.
There's a big one over here.
Is there? Grant, which tour is calling to you? I think it's this one.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, you got it. Okay, great. McKenna Fleckman. There's Torahs here. There's Torahs here. Which Torah do you want? I think you want
pink one.
It's really heavy.
Oh.
It's great. You're strong.
It's okay.
Okay, use your shoulder. All right. Perfect. Rachel Levin. Which Torah would you like, Rachel? Sorry, sweetie. You inspired me. Do you want to change your Torah?
No, I'm the light is not mine.
Isabel Shane.
Okay. Are there no more big ones?
You can take this one.
Get the mini one.
Isabel.
For
Yes.
small people.
And Elia Smith.
Say no to the pineapple one.
Okay. Oh, someone taking a picture should send it to me. Okay. I know, it is.
Every single person in the audience is going to
Judaism in modernity. Okay. Oh, and I also want to mention Molly Koritz, Joseph Kwame Waldman, and Emil Bergard, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. And Lena Levy. Thank you.
Yay.
Okay, you all ready? This is from Rabbi Chasen. Now you're like, should I switch a Torah? Okay. It is hard for some of us old people, not me. Remember, this is Rabbi Jason. It's hard for some of us old people to believe that it's time for you all to embark upon this amazing new chapter in your lives. After all, you've been a part of this temple community for most of your lives, and some of you have been a part of this temple community for all of your lives. We watched you learn your numbers and then your alphabet, and then the Aleph-Bet on your way to teaching us Torah at your B'nai Mitzvah. We've watched you laugh. We've watched you cry. We've watched you push the boundaries, just as you were supposed to do, even though it wasn't always so much fun for us. And most of all, we watched with wonderment and pride and love as you became the young adult versions of the children we so loved being blessed with the gift of helping just a little bit to raise. Graduating from high school and heading off to college is most definitely a life cycle moment for you, but it's also one for your parents. That I can tell you from firsthand experience, says Rabbi Jason. Which is why I want you to ask your parents, all of our parents who are here, to rise so that you can also be a part of this blessing.
Put it on my head like water. Oh, put it on your hip like a baby.
A couple of weeks ago, I, Rabbi Chasen, met with your parents, and I told them that I'm not a big believer in happy tears or sad tears. I believe we cry when we are feeling so much, so deeply, that it's just too much for the heart to hold. Our emotional cup overflows. Well, that's what your entrance into this next chapter of your lives is for your family, for your parents in particular. It's everything they wanted for you, everything they gave their last drop of energy and patience and love to help steer you to, and everything that a tiny part of them has dreaded because your lives are such an enormous part of theirs. The cup overflows, to be sure. But nobody carries a deeper pride in who you are and how you got here than they do. So parents, we are delighted to be encircling you tonight as we join with you once more in creating the village that you wanted for your children to grow up in. That has been our great pride for so many years and will be for so many years to come. So tonight we are thrilled to join with you in bringing blessing to your children, to these graduates. You are holding the Torah, a very heavy Torah. There's a lot of wisdom in that Torah. Judaism's symbol and repository of learning. Our tradition includes a prayer of gratitude that we humans actually can learn. Ata chonen la'adam da'at. We say, you, O God, have graced us humans with the capacity to acquire knowledge. Umelamed le'enosh bina, and that gift is what leads us to understanding, to wisdom. Tonight, we are grateful to the source of holiness for having seen you grown with the grace of knowledge and having watched you assimilate that knowledge into understanding. There is so much Torah in you, Torah from within that scroll and from well beyond it. That's how we know you are ready for this giant next step in your lives, which will bring still more knowledge and even greater understanding. That is how God made you, and we cannot wait. You okay there, Grant? And we cannot wait to see what all that knowledge and understanding teases out of you. The learning you'll do in class, yes, but also the learning that you'll do everywhere else. You're adulting as you begin to build lives of your own. It is the adventure of a lifetime, of your lifetime, and we want to send you off to it with our love, with our blessings, and our total belief in you. So as you look at your parents and surrounded by this community here and online, which has been so fortunate to have been a part of your lives, we will all join in singing words of blessing to you at this amazing time of accomplishment and of anticipation. And so we're going to join together in Shehecheyanu. This is recognizing this sacred time, this sacred moment, and being able to celebrate it here together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kivanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. One more time, Baruch atah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu
I can also take Lena's if there's a one for you. Just bring it next to. Hold the chair over here.
Okay, wow. As we celebrate this sacred time, we also always, even in moments of joy and in celebration, think of those in our community who are struggling. Those who might also be feeling that joy and celebration, but are also feeling a sense of brokenness and loneliness. Those who are suffering from physical ailments, those who are struggling from mental illness or from emotional struggles. And so this is our time where we get to hold all of them in our hearts and to name out loud anyone that we might be thinking of. And so if there is someone that you would like to offer our prayer for healing for, our Mishaberach prayer, at this time I'll invite you to rise and you can say their name out loud. We join together in words of healing, middle of 253.
May the source of strength
the bottom of page 282. And if you're able, I invite you to please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר ואדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד.
Words to prepare us for Mourner's Kaddish on the bottom of 291. Yesh kochavim she'oram magia arza. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways that we remember. As we recite Kaddish this Shabbat, we especially remember Debbie Alter, Freda A. Brown, Cheryl Corin, Edith Falk, Arnold S. Friedman, Marvin Golden, Fred Harris, Jerome Heinrich, Mary Asia Hilf, Herb Jacobson, Morley Job Kurt, Lillian Coppell, Charles Lazarus, Francis Nathan Lazarus, Jack Leviton, Bill Lewenstein, Nettie Lissman, Simon Presson, Howard Rubin, Eric J. Shull, Ray Spivak, Sylvia Stein, Jerome Sussman, Jean Berenson Tillum, James Warren, and Mickey Weissman. If there are other names that we should add, or if I mispronounce the name of your loved one, I invite you to please share their name at this time. We also think of those who have perished as innocent victims of violence and those who have died protecting our country and our people's ancient home. We rise together as one community in support of our mourners with Mourner's Kaddish, which can be found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'ama divrach herete v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mivarach leolam ulamei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha berechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Zichronam levracha. May their memories truly be for a blessing.
And before we join in Oseh Shalom, these are the days that we are still counting the Omer. The Omer is a count up from Passover to Shavuot, and we get more and more excited as we count, kind of like counting towards your birthday. So we're getting there. We're on day 28 of 49. So that is kind of almost half. Anyway, join with me. You have a piece of paper here. We're going to say the blessing and then do the count in Hebrew and then the count in English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Hayom shmona ve'esrim yom shehem arba'a shavuot la'omer. Today is 28 days, which are 4 weeks of the Omer.
I want to invite back up our seniors to just join with us to help us lead Oseh Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Go around the circle.
Montreal.
Shabbat Shalom.
Sarah Lawrence. Brandeis.
I know where you're going. Shabbat shalom.
I'm staying here, man.
Okay, cool.
I'm not.
Secret. She's not.
Okay. And McKenna?
No, it's not that I didn't get into college. It's. I have to find a better way to start clarifying that to people.
Wait, Katie, where are you going?
I'm going to Grinnell. Oh my gosh, Grinnell? Where are you going? Sarah Lawrence. Yeah. How many like good people going to Sarah
Partner.
Lawrence? How many alumni people go to Sarah Lawrence? No, I know someone who's cool going to Sarah Lawrence. Wait, who? Maddie Grossman. Not Maddie Grossman. Maddie Goldblatt.